mean, imagine not being able to see the hair of a woman. It's like, I couldn't imagine it, you know. It's like life without music or something, you know what I mean? Like, you know, a woman wasn't born with the hijab, and you know, I mean, I just think that the hair of the woman is so beautiful, and you know, to hide it from the world is very, very sad.
The religion before Allah is Islam, submission to His will. Surah Al-Imran, verse 19.
Unfortunately, there is so much myth around it that people think that hijab is just a head cover. Hijab is a modest dress, modest way of speaking, modest way of conversing and interacting with an opposite sex.
I think obviously the main reason as to why I wear the hijab is because it's an obligation. It's the same reason as to why I fast during Ramadan and why I pray 5 times a day.
The hadith from our Prophet ﷺ says that we should cover our hair, and it's basically to cover our beauty, not to make a show of our beauty, not to show off our bodies. We're supposed to cover the shape of our bodies, and we're supposed to cover our hair because our hair is something which is very attractive.
The requirement to wear hijab that people insisted on was, in fact, came from the hadith where the Prophet, peace be upon him, indicated to Asma that once a woman reached puberty, nothing should be seen of her except her hands and face.
The background of it is a good hadith that I can share with you, that a young man was walking in the street and he was just staring at the young girl on the other side of the street. So much he was staring at her that he did not realize that he is going the wrong direction, and he just hit the edge of a wall. And immediately it broke his forehead, and it started, bleeding. The man was very upset, and he said that I'm going to go and tell the Prophet about this. The reason that he was looking also, or one of the things that he was attracted, was that girl, her bosom and chest was open. So she had attracted his attention. As soon as he goes and explains narrates the story to the Prophet, the ayah was revealed. That is in chapter 24, ayah 31. Tell the believing men to lower their gaze and safeguard their private parts, which is more modest for them. And also tell the believing women to lower their gaze. So the concept of hijab in Islam starts first with controlling the eyes, but not only controlling the eyes. Controlling the eyes on the one hand. On the other hand, the ayah followed that tell the believing women also that they should draw their khimar. Khimar was something that they were already covering their heads with, but they should draw it to cover their bosom, which means their neck and chest also should be covered.
Say to the believing men that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty. That will make for greater purity for them, and Allah is well acquainted with all that they do. And say to the believing women that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty, that they should not display their beauty and ornaments except what must ordinarily appear thereof, that they should draw their veils over their bosoms and not display their beauty except to their husbands, their fathers, their husbands' fathers, their sons, their husbands' sons, their brothers or their brothers' sons, or their sisters' sons, or their women, or the slaves whom their right hands possess, or male servants free of physical needs, or small children who have no sense of the shame of sex, and that they should not strike their feet in order to draw attention to their hide ornaments. And O you believers, turn you altogether towards Allah, that you may attain bliss.
I think culture is quite relevant to the question of wearing hijab. And I'm just thinking that in Southeast Asian societies some time ago, very few Muslim women were wearing hijab when they were going about their everyday activities, such as trading in the market and working in the fields and things like that. It's really only been in the last maybe 20 years or so that there's been a process of Arabization in Southeast Asian countries, and of course also there's been a process of religious revival, and more women are now wearing a tudung or hijab than they used to wear it in the past.
Hijab is not a mere traditional dress, like, I don't know, Pakistani dress, Iranian dress, or Arabic dress. It's an Islamic dress based on some rationality that we have already discussed it, and it is the law of Islam.
You very rarely see Muslim men walking around dressed in thobe and ishtaj or whatever, salwar kameez even. These days, the majority of Muslim men dress exactly the same way as non-Muslim men. And so why is it necessary for the women to dress differently?
For women, it is necessary, more necessary. In fact, hijab also is for men as well, but not to the extent that it is for women. The reason for that, there is a psychological discussion behind it, that the way that a man is observing woman, her physical appearance appear to a man is different from a woman towards a man. So the style of the hair of a girl is attractive to man. Her face, her chest, and her legs, all these are called body hotspots that are more attractive to men, to provoke him, sexually. Whereas for women, there is no such things. Well, at least it is not to that level that it is for men, and therefore they would require two different set of dress code.
The restrictions are removed a little bit on older women. When women are in their older years, their restrictions for covering and wearing hijab are relaxed a little bit. So there is that sexual attractiveness factor. It's basically to keep morality in the society. I think it's a good thing because I think sexuality can be a very distracting factor. We drive around, we see billboards with women plastered everywhere with really very revealing positions, postures, clothing. It's a distraction, and I think that it can desensitise people as well. I've worked in an office, and some of the clothing girls used to wear, it was something you'd wear to a disco. And I used to wear long pants and a long white shirt, and some of the men would question me, this is before I wore hijab, they'd say, why do you always wear that? You wear that every day. And I said, well, why do you always wear that? You always wear long dark pants and a long shirt, so why shouldn't I? Am I supposed to show myself just because I'm a woman? Am I expected to be perceived as something that should be viewed sexually because I'm a woman? So for me, I think there's good feminist ideals in covering my body.
I think if you look at it in terms of most Muslim, in terms of Islamic countries or countries who have a large population of Muslim females, we don't have problems associated with eating disorders and what have you, because I don't feel as though I need to conform to a stereotype as to what a female should look like or should dress.
I'd say firstly the observance of hijab is Islamic, and then the rationalisation would come later on after the experience of hijab. A lot of Muslim women, after wearing the hijab, they would tell you that they have increased self-esteem, a lot of self-confidence in themselves, especially because they are not judged by their physique or physical appearance. And also it gives them a sense of self-identity and self-concept in the way they see themselves. And a lot of them do say that they do feel content, and that fits within their psyche. And I think it's important to understand that if they themselves feel confident in wearing hijab and it fits well with their self-concept and understanding, that it should be promoted and actually endorsed.